Hello everybody and welcome back to Talking Walls for part 2 of our Sell, Loan, Keep series. Yesterday we released the first part where we looked at goalkeepers and defenders, and today we're going to be talking about the current Wolves midfielders and whether we would sell them, loan them out, or look to keep them in the squad for next season. My name is Dave Azzopardi, and alongside me today we've got Mr. Finn Morris. Finn, how are you keeping?
Yeah, all right, thank you. I don't think there's many to go through on this one, so it shouldn't be as heavy.
Yeah, and we've got Mr. Matt Cooper. Matt, how are you keeping?
Yeah, same as was the last 40 minutes ago, mate.
I'm sure you made this joke last year.
Not much has changed since then, but very well, thanks, mate. Are you all right?
Man. Yeah, all good, thank you.
Good,
like I said, I'm sure you made that joke last year as well. So, or maybe Rouse. That was a typical Tom Rouse dad joke back.
Did he? All right, we'll go again. Right.
So yeah, we've got a handful of midfielders to look at. Obviously, Wolves didn't have many central midfielders in the squad this season, but there's a few that are out on loan at the moment, which will be intriguing to hear your thoughts, lads. Finn, we'll start with you. We've got Mr. Joao Moutinho. Obviously, it's said a contract is on the table right now. It's said as of recording that there's maybe a sort of dispute in regards to contract length. But is he somebody that you'd be looking to keep around for next season?
I think I would. It is tricky with that sort of in 1 and 2 years, because by the time that ends, he'll be 37 and a half or something. Getting on a little bit then. But I mean, we've been saying it for years, so he definitely will be then. Whether it'll come to some sort of resolution where it's like a 1 year but automatic extension if he plays X amount of games or whatever, that's what I can sort of see happening. But for me, if it was a 1 year deal, no brainer. But I can see why the club are hesitating on that 2 year, because he's on a lot of money. I think one of the highest earning players. So that is a lot off the wage budget, but still to find a player of that quality that he still has to bring that in a transfer fee, I think we're net probably getting a good deal keeping him for that extra year. So I'd probably keep him, just lean towards.
Yeah, I think he's had a good year, Matt. Especially, not many players came out of last season looking great, to be honest. And I think there were some question marks over his future, but he stepped it up slightly. I think this season. I think like what Finn said, there are ways around these contract negotiations. Whether you just slightly lower his wage for next season and up his possibly fee for appearances. We're channeling our inner football manager right here. But based on performances and so on, is he someone ideally you'd like to keep around for next season?
Yeah, I think he's been really good this season. But I'd be concerned about giving him a 2 year deal with him being one of the highest earners. You've almost got to say to him, look, if you want a 2 year deal, you've got to take a pay cut. I'm happily give him another year on what he's on now, because I think he's invaluable to the squad, really. But it's whether he wants to do that. I see a lot of shouts about, I'll give him a coaching role. He's probably going to play till he's 40.
He wants to go back to Portugal for a bit as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Stay in Wolverhampton for the rest of his life.
He's never had any place anyway, so it doesn't really matter to him. So I'd like to keep him, but it's got to make financial sense. But they've also got to look at it in the other term, is that say if we lose Neves, potentially lose Dendoncker because he'll want to be playing week in, week out in a World Cup year. Lose Moutinho, that's I know it's bare bones anyway, but that's a whole midfield gone. So I'd keep him for 1 more year, unless it's 2 with reduced terms. But if someone come to me and said you want me to stay for 2 years, I want to pay you less, I'd tell them to piss off. So
yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the season he's been really, really good, and you can talk about his physicality and so on, and sort of losing maybe a yard of pace, but the way he reads the game, he's almost 2 steps ahead of the opposition at times anyway. And I think he has done really well, and that moves us on to the main man. The man, as it stands, so many question marks over his future, Matt. Looks like he's probably going to be going. Ruben Neves, an unbelievable footballer, had some fantastic games this season. And I'm pretty sure I know what your answer is going to be. But Ruben Neves, what are your thoughts on him?
Love to keep him, mate. I'd absolutely love to keep him. What a footballer. But it's, I think I know with Ruddy going, with Saïs going, it's the end of the cycle, and I'll be gutted to see him go, but we need that Neves money to reinvest in the squad and improve it. He's going to be a massive loss to us, but I feel like you could replace him with less money. I really do. Say if we got 55, 60 million for him, I think you could replace him with less than that. So I think you'd get a little bit of change left over. But yeah, I'd love to keep him, but we won't begrudge him at all. He needs to go and win stuff. He's good enough. So
yeah. Although I don't think possibly you might not get a direct replacement as good as he is for less money. I think what you can do is balance the squad a lot better. And I think Bruno said this on Sunday, actually. Say, for argument's sake, like you said, you sell him 55, 60 million. You could buy another 2 players for 50, 60 million that are going to balance the squad out slightly better. And I think, that's where the sell to buy will come in and work its magic, as long as the guys in charge of the transfers do, sign the right players to do that.
Yeah, well, this is it. The players are out there, but it's whether you trust the likes of Sellers and Jeff to go out and make those right signings. Personally, not too sure, but can't judge them until the end of the window. But how many times have we said it, mate? It's going to be a massive summer.
Yeah. Finn, I'm sure you would agree in regards to keeping Neves if we can.
Yeah, obviously, but it sort of feels like if you love them, let them go. Like for the good of their career, we don't deserve him, do we? Best player I've seen in a Wolves shirt. It will be the biggest transfer fee, won't it? Most likely, beating Jota's that like Wolves have ever received. So it's an emotional one, but yeah, I'm not going to say we need to sell him. Obviously, I'd love to keep him, but
I think we should put sell personally.
Oh no, surely not.
Don't cry because it's over tomorrow.
On Neves? No. We're putting keep on Neves.
Yeah, but think of the Nunes money.
We'll move on to Leander Dendoncker, Finn. And Matt sort of suggested it earlier. World Cup year, maybe he's going to want to step up his game time, but I know he's had an okay amount of games this season. Gets a lot of stick. I think his numbers are actually okay if you take a deeper look into his game, but if Lazio are the club rumoured at the moment, if Lazio come in with 20 million, I think you've got to snap their arm off, haven't you?
I think so. I still feel like we've never played him in the right position. Like, did he end up with the one goal? I can remember the one goal recently against City. Did he even score again? I can't remember. Maybe 1 or 2.
It's some great chances. That one against Liverpool as well. Chance against Liverpool,
Chelsea as well.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like that's his game, but we make him do it, and he's obviously the finishing touch is very rarely been there this season, despite Tom's hope at the start of the season. So it's probably another one that's best all round. As Matt said, he needs to be playing if he wants to get in that Belgium squad, which is a very talented bunch in midfield. So he still gets in there, and I assume he'll still want to. So yeah, probably if you could get that sort of money, it's no brainer.
Matt, you open to selling Dendoncker?
Yeah, I think it goes back to, depends how many of the central midfielders actually go. We might not have a choice but to keep him, but he's got 1 year left on his deal. I think the club have got an option of another further year. So, call that 2 years. I'd probably, if I was him, be looking to move on. When we first signed him, I was buzzing because he was so highly rated in Belgium. We played Tillemans at Anderlecht. I remember watching him play against United, and they were excellent. And I thought, was it 12 million, 13 million? Like that's a great signing, but he took a while to get into the team, did well, and then he's almost digressed. But you say we've not played in his best position, but what is his best position? I don't think anyone really knows. So I would, if it made sense in terms of squad depth, I would get rid of him.
Yeah. Obviously, was able to play at centre half. We've not seen him there as much. I think he said sort of he prefers to play as a midfielder. But yeah, I think his movement's good. We've seen him pick up some fantastic positions this season. It's just a shame that it's Leander Dendoncker on the end of those chances, isn't it? So we'll move on to the only other sort of, let's say, first teamer, if you can class him as that, is Luke Cundle. Matt, he's really stepped it up for the under-23s the last few weeks. And I've said it a number of times recently. Whenever I watch the 23s games, you can almost pick out and straight away those that have been exposed to first team football. And Cundle has definitely been one of those over the last month or two. It's such a difficult one with him because I think he's another player that possibly long-term to make it in the Premier League, he's possibly going to have to bulk out just that little bit. But technically he's a phenomenal player. What's your stance on him? Do you think a loan move is needed next season?
I think so, yeah. I think he needs to go and apply his trade in somewhere like the Championship. He'll learn a lot from that because under-23s football it's competitive for their age group, but when you step in with the big boys, it's a whole completely different ball game. So I'd like to see him have a loan move in the Championship, and I think a team, one of the better teams who have a lot of the ball, I think he could be so so good for a team like that. So, yeah, I'd like to see him go out and learn. I've been impressed with him though this season. When he's coming, he's done well at Newcastle. He got a fair amount of stick, but he was always looking to get on the ball. And I think that speaks volumes about him as a player. So, yeah, a low move. He's 20 now, isn't he? So, perfect to go and get some experience. If he was like 18, 19, so I'd probably say give him another year at Wolves. But, yeah, get him out there, get first-team experience.
Yeah, and we've seen him, Finn, actually play a little bit further up, almost as a false nine at times for the 23s. I do wonder maybe if Matt, like what Matt said there, if we can get him out to the Championship, if he could play a similar role to, Morgan Gibbs-White, where he's sort of in that hole as a number 10, it could be a really, big season for him next year.
Yeah, it could. I completely agree. He's in that sort of too good for the under-23s and maybe not quite Premier League level yet. So the loan makes sense. I think I assumed like when he was coming through that he's just Wolverhampton born and bred, but he's a northern lad, isn't he? So maybe
Warrington,
there's a team. Yeah, somewhere up there from to have a homecoming. I don't know. Maybe I don't even know who's in the Champions League.
Getting down to Warrington in the non-league.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, I think we're all game with a low move out there. Now there's a handful of players now that have not been at the club this season. Finn, Connor Ronan had a really productive year for St Mirren, I believe, in Scotland. I think he's unfortunately been a player that over the last number of years has just been a player that probably doesn't suit the way that Wolves play. It's obvious that he's a gifted player, a very talented footballer. But what's your stance on him going into next season?
I feel sorry for him because no number 10 has succeeded at Wolves in a long time. And I think players are going to come on to, like you've had Ronan, Gibbs-White, all winning player of the season at their respective clubs. So you'd think they'd come in and have a chance. But how old is he now? Maybe 23, 24. Did you say that?
24,
I think I remember probably 2 or 3 years ago now, probably 2, when Tim Spears interviewed him and said, at that point, he was saying, I just want somewhere to call home. I don't want these loans anymore. I want to either stay at Wolves or get that permanent move. And it hasn't come for him. I think there'll be a lot of takers now. And you could argue if this is the peak value that we're going to get, then it's a sell. I've always wanted to see him come through. I remember there was a game against Wigan. It was on Valentine's Day, and he absolutely ran the show. We lost, but I remember thinking that Ronan was brilliant, played a little bit deeper. It was no more Bogle last minute loss. But apart from that, Ronan really impressed me then, and I haven't really seen him in a Wolves shirt since. So it's a sad one, but it probably makes financial sense. As you say, if we need to sell him now while his stock is probably highest.
He's still got 2 years left on his deal, hasn't he, as well? So, if he stays until the end of that, he's going to be like 26, leaving Wolves. How long's he been here now? Since what, 2017, something like that? It's a long time.
Yeah. And Neves is a year older, and we're saying, right, you've got to progress your career. If Neves has, then he does.
Like I said, a very talented player. A number of teams in Scotland want to sign him on a permanent basis. He's obviously doing well in that division. I think St. Pauli in Germany as well, we're interested in him. Matt, do you think this is the right time to sell? Like Finn said, now his stock's high?
Yeah, I think so. Like he's done really well in Scotland this season. I can see someone like a Dundee or a Hearts coming in from them. They've both done really well this season. And I think he could make the step up to a bigger club. I don't think he's quite Celtic or Rangers quality, but go out there, mate. Like you said, you want to call somewhere home. So, go and do it, man.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on, Matt, to Bruno Jordao. Been such a strange career for him at Wolves so far. I think injuries have sort of held him back slightly. He's probably still waiting on the touchline to get subbed on against Palace when he's waiting for so long. And in the end, he came back from injury, and Wolves decided to obviously loan him out to Grasshoppers. I think next season's big for him because it's, he came in with Neto. We still, on paper, paid quite a bit of money for him as well. Where do you see his season going? Because again, is he a waste just sat on the bench for Wolves? Because you can't really see him as a first teamer at the moment, can you?
I'd get rid of him, mate. I know we've not seen enough, but I'm surely if he was good enough to make an impact, they wouldn't have loaned him to Grasshoppers. I know he's been unlucky with injuries, but Grasshoppers isn't great, isn't it? Like if you're a good player, what would you test yourself over there? So, yeah, he's got 2 years left on his deal, I think. So I'd get rid of him personally.
Finn, what do you think?
I've seen him play for Wolves once, and he really impressed me in that Reading game. Yeah, but hasn't really kicked on. And as you say, I think they said that he was going to Grasshoppers to build his fitness again, to then be ready for for next season. So he hasn't particularly pulled up any trees there. So it is a tough one. I was more like in those first sort of few months when Neto and Jordao came in. I was honestly more impressed with Jordao than those first few appearances Neto made in the Europa League qualifiers, and how their careers have alternated, kind of. Yeah, it's been a weird one. So you're probably not going to get much for him if you sold him now. But again, probably someone at this age now that wants somewhere to call home. Maybe we do have to get rid of him if he's not going to have a sniff again.
I think he was a bit of a sweetener in that Neto deal anyway, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to Grasshoppers in. Did he go in January? Didn't he?
End of Jan, deadline day.
Yeah, he's. I think he's only made 6 starts, come off the bench 6 times. So,
strange, isn't it? I don't know what to think about him really. I think I'm not going to say I don't think he's going to be one of those players that we sell and will regret. But at the same time, in terms of trying to get your value back for him, obviously we don't know. I don't think it's ever been publicised the amount that we paid for both separately. I think Neto obviously was a little bit more expensive. I don't know. So what are you saying, Finn? Are you saying loan now, or are you saying sell if we can?
Do we know how long he's got left on the contract?
2 years. That's it.
2. Yeah, give him a loan. See, maybe to Portugal.
Yeah.
He's been maybe 2 clubs in Portugal, though, hasn't he? And not necessarily.
Cow, he didn't really. I think he got the injury there. To be fair. Yeah. Let's say loan out. Let's be fair to Jordao, but again, it's another one where pre-season may be pivotal for him and the rest of his Wolves career. This one, I think we're gonna have a good chat about. Morgan Gibbs-White, a phenomenal season for him at Sheffield United. Reports suggest that Wolves have offered him a new deal. Bruno Lage is obviously desperate to make him part of the first team squad for next season. Had a really strong pre-season last summer for Wolves. Started off the season okay. Was offered the chance to move back to Wolves in January, and he rejected that chance because of what happened under Nuno. Finn, I mean, I'm keep on this one. I'm 100% keep. But what do you make of him?
Yeah, it's not a long chat. Keep. I'm not having it. I'm not having any other conclusion. I just really want to see it, and whether, as I said, I think in the podcast the other day, whether that's sort of like the local lad thing blinding me. But I think this is his time, and I've said that for 3 years in a row now. But this is the year. I think I dread to think what he's asking for on that contract. I'm sure his agent's having a bit of fun now with having that leverage of teams like AC Milan and whoever sniffing around.
Supposedly,
I'm sure Premier League clubs will be sniffing around as well. But I just really want to see it. I think make that sort of, if we still play a 5, I think that third man in midfield, or if we go to a 4, then number 10, I just want to see him shine. And I think a player doing that in the Championship, we've seen players do similar, Jared Bowen getting similar numbers for Hull. I know there's a lot of Championship players that will make the move up and flop, but there's been a few recently. I mean, like just looking at the England squad today, it made me think like James Justin did well in the Championship. Jared Bowen, there was a few in there that I thought, God, again, I was thinking of Morgan. There is that pathway there. It's not like every player is going to be in that, they call it the Huckabee zone, don't they? Or Anthony Knockout zone, where he's not going to do okay in the Prem. And
the Huckabee zone.
The Huckabee zone, mate. It's a great name. But no, yeah, I've got faith in him for the 4th season in a row. This is his year. Keep him.
Does anyone ever remember when Huckabee went abroad, went to USA, and the interview we did, and they cause he scored a screamer, didn't they? And they were interviewing. He's like, Darren, what's it like to the score of the greatest goal ever? And he's like, what?
I've not seen that.
Oh, he's brilliant. Yeah. Oh God.
I was gonna say, Matt. I was gonna say, Finn's, touched on it there. He had, there was issues. There was a lot of stuff in the media about him, during lockdown, and he sort of put his head down, let the football do the talking, and everyone's just very quickly forgot about that, haven't they? So, is he a player worth bringing back for almost? I don't think Wolves have to completely scrap their system but they're definitely going to have to adapt their system to bring in him as a more attacking midfielder, because Wolves haven't really played with that style for the last number of years.
Yeah, and at Sheffield, he's played almost across the front three, or more so off the right, I think. So I would definitely bring him back based on the displays of this season. Sheffield United fans are convinced he's going right to the very top. He's had purple patches for us, but it's good to see him actually do it consistently for a whole season. Mm-hmm. It's whether he wants to stay, mate. And that's another thing we've got to consider here. He may not want to stay. If you're saying to his missus, right, you can stay in Stafford or you can go to Milan where there's interest, what are you picking?
Well, as her, with her profession as well, like Milan is like, you're laughing, aren't you? Really, but
Yeah.
I think you're right. Unless he's guaranteed, I don't think he can say a play like you are going to start every single game this season, because that's not going to happen. But I think all he wants is reassurances that he's going to be a first team player. I think the issue with him is that Wolves brought him back last season and said, right, you're going to we'll terminate his loan at Swansea, recalled him and said you're going to be part of the first team. And again, he was on the bench for 75% of the games.
On bench.
Mold, you're on bench. So I think that's and we saw his dad, didn't we, at the Forest game right at the start of the season. That's what his dad had told us. So I think he just wants to play football. He's still a young lad, wants to play football, and I think he's done enough. Like you said, Matt, he's had a consistent season in the Championship now. He's shown everyone what he's got, and there's been a lot of people that have said this on Twitter. If Wolves were linked with a Championship player, English, young, right now, with those numbers, you would be excited.
Yeah,
would you not?
So, yeah, you would, but it's not the same, is it?
Yeah, no, but
13 goals, 10 assists, you'd be buzzing, wouldn't you? But who knows? Maybe he's got a new lease of life, so I'd keep him. But how much would you sell him for?
I'd be happy he got 20.
How much?
20. It's got to be 20. What are you saying? 20?
Yeah.
What if similar sort of when people have that standout Championship season? What do they normally?
It's in around that, I would say.
Yeah.
Ollie Watkins went for 30 million, didn't they?
Yeah, Ben Rama, Bowitt, yeah.
Has he got 2 years left on his deal, Morgan? Yeah.
So again, this is that's why I think well, who knows? Final one for the midfielders, Matt. I mean, this is going to be an interesting one, I think. Hayao Kawabe.
I'd bring him back, give him a 10-year deal, and start putting the planning permission for a statue, because that boy's going to be a star.
Do you think, Matt, at the age of he might even be 27 now, the age of 26, this was a commercial signing for the club, similarly to Hwang Hee-chan?
Why though? He plays for fucking Grasshoppers. Honestly, God, I was buzzing when we signed him, not because he's any good, just because it was a body through the door. Something to get excited about. Yeah, he's 20. He'll be 27 in September, so he's no spring chicken. However, he is up for Grasshoppers Player of the Season, so he might be a late bloomer. Still hope for the lad.
I mean, maybe the preseason will be different. Again, I can't judge. I'd be lying if I said I'd seen him kick a ball, Finn, to be honest. What do you think about Kawabe? I mean, is it too early to sell? For him, like, if he comes in now, we just say, right, mate, you're off. Kawabe, you're off, son.
Yeah.
What's the...
Yeah, it's tricky. Unless he's like the Japanese Jamie Vardy, that he comes through and blossoms at the age of 26, 27. It makes no sense, does it? Because we bought him from Grasshoppers and have loaned him out. If he's up and had an impressive season, then maybe give him another year there. I don't know, but how long do you loan a bloke until, like, this is meant to be the prime, isn't it? So if he's not at the level now, which they obviously don't think he is, to loan him out again, then what do we do? I don't know. It just seems like a strange sign. What was it, 500k? If you could get that for him, maybe assess him pre-season and cut the losses. I don't know. But again, I haven't seen him play, so maybe he is fantastic.
He's got 3 years left on his deal at Wolves as well. So
I wonder what wage he's picking up as well, man. If maybe
probably not 500k,
I wish. Maybe if the club knew they was interested in him, sign him for 500k and sell him for $1 million this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can turn a profit after wages, definitely.
That would be huge. That would be, if they could do something like that. With this Grasshoppers link now, you got players. I know the Swiss league's not the best league in the world, but there's players there. Grasshoppers have got this link with Wolves and saying, look, X team is sniffing around him. So if you want to sign him now, there's a chance you're going to flip a quick profit in the summer. So
I mean, he might come back in the summer and be like a new signing. So who knows?
I really doubt it, but let's see. What are we saying about
7 goals and 3 assists this season?
I think I could get 7 goals and 3 assists in the Swiss Challenge League.
Wait, all right, this is my club we're talking about. I've guided them.
What are you saying about Hayao Kawabe? Are you keeping or selling him?
Oh, I sold him to Japan for $2.5 million in the fake world.
As in, like, the state of Japan.
Yeah.
Are we loaning him out, or?
Yeah, give him another 3 years left. Maybe he's a late bloomer. We'll see.
Who's going to buy him? Because I'm convinced that most people in professional football don't know he exists. So, who's going to buy him and give us more than we paid for him?
Japanese teams, mate.
Like you said, there may be method in the madness. They may know that teams are sniffing around and be giving the heads up and saying, look, quick profit in the summer. If so, you know what? Fair play. Absolutely fair play. Got a lot of time for that, but I'm not convinced.
I mean, are we selling him then, or
sell him?
What's selling Finn?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
I think we're saying sell him because there's no other reason why you'd buy him without some.
I mean, we might be. Well, I might be extremely disrespectful, but I really can't see how this guy's going to break into the first team. So there we go, and that is all for the central midfielders, guys. Let us know your thoughts on those players that we've mentioned there. I mean, the biggest talking point was Hayao Kawabe. Who would have thought it? As always, be sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you haven't caught the goalkeepers, the defenders part, be sure to go and check that out now. And obviously, the forwards part will be out in the next day or so as well. But until then, we will see you all very, very soon.